Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, I was about to say back to From Bromley with Love, but technically welcome back to the start of a brand new season. Everyone has been on at me for the whole summer saying, when are you going to start doing some content again? I said, wait, I've got something planned, and that something planned was to start with the gaffer himself. You can't start the season without first talking to the gaffer. Everything else has to happen after that. The last few seasons, I've kind of written intro articles predicting how the season's gonna go. And this season I wanted it to be a bit more special and actually have a one-to-one with Andy for the benefit of the fans, obviously as well, because it doesn't get any more real than that. Andy, we're talking on Monday the 5th of August, about 4 or 5 days out from the first game of the season. In general, how are you doing?
All good, thanks. Yeah, very good. Looking forward to the start of the season. Probably like most people, we've had enough of everything else. We want football back in our lives.
100%. And before we started, I said to you, you know what? I'm only going to keep this 20, 25 minutes max. So I'm not even going to do like a big kind of intro. I'm just going to jump straight into it. And I'm going to take you back to about, I think it was March 2021 when you first came through the door as manager of Bromley. It's literally 3.5 years later now. You're still in post. You've achieved what you said you were going to achieve when you first came through the door. And it sounds like such an easy question to ask, but I do genuinely mean it. At what point did you or have you ever sat back, whether with family or friends, and actually reflected on what you've managed to achieve at the football club?
No, I haven't really. There's flashes and moments. Probably me and Danny actually have probably the most moments where we sort of have a little moment and think, wow, that's some achievement we've done getting this football club into the league. But no, I haven't really. I'm weirdly not one of those people that looks back. I never look back on my career as a player. I very rarely you'll find me going to old events or hoping to relive my football career. I'm just not one of those. I'm not wired that way. What's gone's gone. I'm sort of on to the next thing. That's not to say that I haven't looked back at moments of the summer and thought, wow, that was something else. And I think I look at the bigger picture of really what we achieved is like I said, all those teams and players that have gone before us, and we're the ones that have sort of got us to the promised land. So that's nice. But yeah, it don't stick around for me for too long because I'm probably on to the next thing, and that's just how I'm wired, unfortunately. I probably should enjoy things a lot more than I do.
It's interesting that you mentioned Dunny there, because one thing that's been quite key, I think, from the from the day you came in till now, is that your core / spine, whether off the field or on the field, has actually stayed pretty stable. And by that I mean you've got Dunny as your right hand. Through the middle of the pitch, you got Byron, Corey, who you brought back, and Cheeky. They've all been there since pretty much the beginning of the journey. And it sounds like a cliche, but how important is it to a manager to have that spine through the whole football club?
Yeah, I mean, it's important, but they only stay there if they're doing the job. It's quite simple. It's a simple formula. It's not that I've got any superstitions about keeping them. Let's talk about Alan Dunn. I mean, look, he's been with me from day one since I come through the door. Didn't know him from Adam, yeah, we're yin and yang. We're complete opposites, which probably works for us. I think we're going to win every game 10-0. He thinks we're going to lose every game 10-0. So between us, we kind of get a formula. And he works tirelessly hard. I have to say that he's been a big part of the success of Bromley Football Club and my success here. And I've enjoyed working with him. We're always pushing each other. I'm always pushing him, to find different formulas, different answers. And he takes on that challenge. Anyone that knows Danny, that's him to a T. He's always looking to improve and impress. And with the spine of the team, have I been lucky? Has it just worked? Look, these are seasoned professionals now, in my opinion, and they've given me everything, every game, since I've been here. So there's no reason for me to change them. Their day will come at some point. We always know that comes to all of us. But certainly my success has been geared certainly around the four people you've mentioned, Alan Dunn and the 3 players in the team. That's not to say there's not been a lot of other players along the side and around the outside that have got us to here today. And I think we must mention the chairman. You know, look,
Yeah.
you mentioned the spine through the team, and you mentioned my assistant manager. We also got to talk about, you know, the chairman. You know, from day one, he's been nothing but help to me. Um, he's been frank and honest with me, and he's been demanding of me. With all of those sort of mixed in the bag, we work well together. We work well with what we're trying to achieve, and so I think he should certainly be probably the biggest one in the mix out of all of it as well.
Last season, obviously, famous promotion, Wembley, beating Solihull, etc. But did you always earmark last season as this is the one to do it? And the only reason I say that is because the season before, obviously, we had all of the Wrexham hype. You had Notts County chase them right down to the wire. And there was always a knowledge for the rest of the league that Wrexham and Notts County are likely to be 1 and 2. So what happens from there is anybody's guess. But this season, once they had both gone, was there a sense, not just at our club, but throughout the league, that this is an open... Yes, Chesterfield was spending the money, but was there a sense of this is open this season? Anybody who puts it together can get up?
I think the general consensus would have been that. But if I'm to be really honest, I was disappointed I didn't do it in that first season when we played Hartlepool. Um, I felt that was our best time to do it. I really did. I felt we should have, and could have done it then. So I feel like we've lost a couple of years of traction. But again, that just might be our wide. You know, we probably wasn't ready then as a football club. We probably wasn't ready then as a squad. And since then, you know, there's been major improvements around the football club, major improvements around the squad. So you know, we obviously wasn't ready at that point. Um, but I think when you sort of strip it all back, any season getting out of that league is a good season because it is a tough. I mean, I never knew how tough it would be to get out of there. I have to be honest. And there's teams that have been in it now that shouldn't be in it for many years. It is tough. One goes up and the rest play out for that other place. That is a tough gig. And the way the playoffs are set out, it's quite unique as well. So, you know, in answer to your question, I'm just glad we're out of it, the truth be known, because it was going to be an even tougher year to go again. And we haven't got to, thankfully. We've got another tougher year ahead of us, but one we've brought on ourselves and we want.
If there are any managers in the National League right now who have rung you, spoken to you, or would ring you in the future for advice about how do you get out of that league, what is it in your 3.5 years? What were the key ingredients that you would say fundamentally this is what made it all come together when it came together? I know last season when you and I would speak at post-match, you always spoke about the fitness of the squad. So this is me trying to work it out. Is that the number one ingredient first and foremost, or what are the key things that you need to get out of that league?
Look, I think there's many key ingredients, but if you was to nail me down to one, don't concede goals. Simple as that. You'll always create chances. Always, whatever team you put on the pitch, you'll create a chance. So, as boring as that might sound, be solid at the back. Don't concede much. Don't give away goals. That's the big thing for me. You need a team with legs and energy. There's no doubt about that. I think, you know, if you're fit than everyone else, you've got a chance. And then it's everyone's got their own style on how they want to do things. My style was really governed by my budget. And that's not a criticism, that's fact. You know, I couldn't go and buy the likes of what Wrexham brought or Notts County brought or Chesterfield brought. So I had to be clever and diligent in that and make sure we got the right players for us, and you know, that fitted into what we was trying to do. But certainly, if you can keep clean sheets, you're going to be successful.
Having now moved into the Football League, have you sensed a change of perception of the football club? And do you know what? I'm narrowing that down more to, does the level of player that you're now able to talk to or attract, has that changed, or was it always the same? Are people having certain conversations with you now that recognise that you're a football? Has anything changed on that front in terms of now that we're EFL?
There's loads of clubs had conversations, loads of footballers had conversations with me, but look, we everyone seems to think we've gone up and we've got millions and millions of pounds to spend. You know, it comes with problems going up in the nicest sense. You know, the pitch has to be done. That has to be, paid for. We've got financial fair play now that we have to adhere to.
Mm.
So it's kind of not as easy as probably everyone might have expected. So that's come with different problems. But then that said, we didn't do it in the biggest budget last year. It's a league up, we know that, but we still got to cut our cloth accordingly. We've got to work smart, and there's loads of players I'd like to have signed, but they were way too much money for our football club, and I can't start breaking a wage structure here. That, well, one, I can't break it because we can't afford to, but two, it will send out the wrong message. If I'm bringing in players on double the money of the players I've got that have got us up, if I could, by the way, and I can't,
Mm.
then what message is that going to send to the players that have got us across the line? It's going to cause, disharmony in the dressing room. So that was quite important as well. So yeah, the football club has changed as well a little bit. There's been a lot of red tape we've got to get through, and a lot of stuff probably that they've kept away from me that's come with headaches. I know some of it, but there's all different rules and regulations and different agendas now. So the club are working their way through that. And working through it really well. I have to say, behind the scenes, as much as we get the credit for what we do on the football pitch when it goes well, there's a lot of people in this football club that have worked their socks off since we've gone up to make sure we're ready for next Saturday's game. And like, I'd like to go on record of acknowledging the work they've all done behind the scenes and thanking them before we've even kicked the ball, because they're the ones that have really had to put the shift in of work, leading to this point.
Most definitely. And I was having spoken to a few of those people that you're talking about on Saturday. I was asking them about what has changed, and when they gave me the list of things that the club has
Wow.
had to do in the summer just to get EFL compliant, it's phenomenal how they've managed to do it in such a short space of time.
I don't think
As
I
well.
don't think any of us had any idea. We all thought we was ready, and I think that would go for every club that goes up.
Mm.
Every club thinks they're ready. Wow, there is a lot of stuff that has to be done and ticked off. And fair play to everybody at the football club; they've really worked hard.
In terms of recruitment, before I get on to some of the players you've brought in, I thought it was quite interesting that you retained a lot of the squad. Again, if I know you well enough, I'm sure you're going to say that's because you believe they're good enough for the level of football. But I'm sure some would have looked at it and said, "Wow, Andy's kept pretty much 90% of the squad that's got us promoted into the league." Was there a bigger rationale behind it? Is it also about kind of keeping that culture at the club? Those players know who you are. They know that you set targets, that you're driven. So did that also play a role in why you wanted to keep so many with you on the journey?
I think there's a few reasons really. The first reason is that I think the 90% of boys at this club, I think they're good enough to play in League Two. Some of them have already. I
Mm.
think they're good enough, and I think there's a lot of them that probably want to prove they're good enough, and I believe they're good enough, definitely. Um, there's a little bit, and I don't like to use this word because loyalty is a word that's not bandied around, but I felt I owed it to the ones I kept to prove to me that they are good enough, and I think they are. So I would have kept them otherwise. But I think the big thing is, again, we've got to cut our cloth accordingly. And if I suddenly start ripping up what's worked for us
Mm.
and trying to replace it with a different style of football or a different culture, or all of a sudden throw everything I've done here at this football club out the window just because we've gone up a league, then I think I'm kind of sort of going right back to square one. And I think we don't need to do that. I think what we've done at this football club, on and off the pitch to date, since I've been here, has been right. And we just need to keep doing it right and keep improving the right and keep adding to the right. And I think we've done that, and with the players we brought in as well. So we brought some more players in around the outside to get into that squad, and that would be progression for us. That would be progression. And I think we're in a good place. I really do.
in addition to the ones you've kept, you brought back some returning faces. To name but a few, Omar Sholmi has returned, having left to go to Sutton's come back. Lewis Lee, you managed to entice to join us from Preston permanently. And Kamal Grant has come back on a loan again. What made you go for? I'm not saying you must. You don't have to talk through. Yeah, no.
See this? No, it's no problem. No problem, Chairman. That's the chairman. That's the chairman. That's the chairman. That's the chairman telling me if I don't win the first 5 games, I'm sacked.
So you don't have to go through all three in terms of Omar, Lewis, and Kamal, but certainly Lewis. Lewis I find intriguing because he could have stuck around at Preston, and whether I don't know how much opportunities he would have got, but that's quite some coup to get him to leave championship setup to come down to League Two, and there would have been interest in him given he went to Crewe, played in the playoff final, League Two playoff final at the back end of last summer as well. So what was some of the thinking behind bringing those returning faces?
Well, look, I'll go through them all, really. Omar, let's clear up Omar, because I've seen 1 or 2 comments, disappointed. They thought he bowed out on us. Look, his contract was up at the end of that season. We offered him a contract that we thought was our best contract we could offer at that time. And he got a better offer. And it wasn't, we must go back to that. It wasn't just a financial better offer. It was a chance playing league football. So as much as I want to entice, whether it's Omar or any player that's at this club, if they've got a chance to play league football, that's going to be something I can't give them back then. So Omar took the decision to go to Sutton, and I respected that. I didn't have no problem with that. That's football. That's not him sort of turning his back on us. If I spoke to most of the people in the street, if they got an opportunity to go, let's use this as an analogy, from being someone that works at Ford and suddenly getting a move to work at Mercedes or Jaguar or Bentley, you're going to take that jump, for many reasons, if that's an analogy I could use. So I had no problem with that because that's how football works. To sign him back, wow, I was really lucky to get him back. And I must make this clear. I don't need to go into the details of it. But Omar went over and above to come back to Bromley Football Club. And I don't need to go into details of it, but he really did make it, I wouldn't say easy for me to sign him. I don't want to give too much away, but he really worked with me and the club to make sure he could come back. It was his only club he wanted to come back to. And he had other offers, by the way, I must say that, in that same league. So I had no problem with Omar. Omar was good for me when he was here, good for me again. He's a good player. We know what he's about. So that was a no-brainer, and that was a good bit of business, I felt, done there. Lewis Lee, fantastic player. We was just getting him up to speed, I felt, when he left us and went to Crewe. I was surprised, by the way, that Preston let him go. I was also very blessed in the respect of Peter Ridsdale and Ryan Lowe rung me personally, due to Freddie being there as well, probably helped. And we had an honest and frank conversation, and they really helped with that sort of scenario. That really helped. That worked for us, really, that whole scenario. So that was a nice relationship with Peter Ridsdale and Ryan Lowe to help us get a home for Lewis and get him playing football. And that was a no-brainer, in my opinion. And who else did you mention there, Mesh? Sorry.
Kamal Grant back on loan again.
Sorry, Kamal Grant. Yeah, my apologies, Kamal. And Kamal done brilliant for us, didn't he? Look, he come in, he was left out of the team after a few games, made a couple of little, not big errors, just like unlucky errors. Needed to find his way. Listen, when Kamal got going, he was an unbelievable player for us. And it was a no-brainer bringing Kamal in, and again, Kamal was another one that rung me from his holiday, wherever he was. In fact, I know where he was, but I won't say it. He was on a lovely holiday, and he said, Gaffer, he sent me a picture of me and him hugging on the pitch, and he said, look, I want more of this. I want to come back. I want to play for you next season in the league. So it was great, and again, I was blessed in the respect of the team at Millwall staff, Scott Fitzgerald and Neil Harris, worked really well with me and said, look, you can have him back on this date. We won't go back on it. We want him to play another year's football. And they worked well with me on that. So the relationships I've had with people, players and clubs, has been a benefit to get these players to come back. And that's helped us, I think, immensely. No problem with all three of them. I think they're three really good signings.
You've also added some new faces that people wouldn't have seen before. I think so. Danny Imre's come on loan from Palace. Cameron's come from Swansea. Marcus Denanga's come from Gateshead. To name but Sam Long's come from Lincoln.
Yep.
To name but a few. The intriguing one I've got there is Cameron. How did you convince a Swansea? Because he played Championship football last season. So how did you convince someone to come from Swansea to come on loan to Bromley? Or is that because we're now an EFL club, so the conversations are easier?
You look, I don't think all my secrets. It does help when your son's played for Swansea and he's really
Right,
best
okay,
friends,
but
and he's best friends with the kit man, and the kit man whispers into the players' ear. The players' ear gets turned, and you start this. It's a long process. So trust me, it's not. Don't happen overnight, but you have to do it a certain way. So I don't want to go into the ins and outs. And by the way, none of that was done behind the back of the manager, Luke. Spoke to Luke first off before I'd done anything, and then it's a case of selling me, the club, and the vision to the player. That wasn't too hard with Cam. He wanted to come. He wants to play football. Luke, I know very well through his time at Notts County. He's a real gentleman. Luke knows will be good for him as well. And he knows the progression of the young player, where he's got to get to, and he needs games. So the mix was, again, very, very blessed in that respect. And a good agent that wanted to saw the vision of what we was trying to do and felt we was a good fit for him. So that was a good one.
Just to interject, Andy, why Cam though? And sorry, what I mean by that is because he's at Swansea, there's so many clubs between Bromley in South London and Swansea in Wales. What made you say, yeah, Cam's the one that fits what I'm looking for?
Well, look, we need someone to replace Ben Krause. I think that's evident. You know, we lost Ben, and we need someone in that position. We need someone that, again, I don't want to give too much away, someone that's a bit explosive, someone that can move the ball, and someone that can get a shot away. So that was one of the reasons why Cam was on our radar. We had him flagged up to us, and then we kind of we done our homework. Danny done his homework. I've done my homework. Alex Dyer done his homework. Steve, we all done our homework on this. And then you do more homework, and then you find out about the character. Then you find out a bit more about the player. Then you just don't ring them up and say, "Oh, we want this player because we think it's a spot in the dark." There's a lot of work behind the scenes done before we know he's the right one. And then you've got to wonder whether Ben's going to come out of Brentford, but we can't gamble on what Brentford are going to do with him. I had spoken to Brentford as well, by the way, and they're telling me that he's not going to be available till January, and that's their prerogative. That's but we did ask. So we have to make a move on someone, and Cam we felt was the one that would give us that balance and that something different in that position. And today it looks all right. We need to get him a few more minutes around the boys, a few more training sessions. So he's still early on. It would have been great if we could have took him on pre-season with us to Portugal to play in those games, but he went away with their first team, which of course that's the prerogative. But he's settled in really well, Cameron, really, really well.
And Danny Imre and Marcus Denanga. Denanga almost seems like a no-brainer to me because you would have wanted another striker. Cheeky can't do it all on his own. So you've probably been wanting another striker for quite some time. But
Yeah.
is it because did it help that Marcus is from this neck of the woods? Does it help sometimes that Bromley's a London-based club to try and convince some players to come to us?
No, in the nicest sense, no. There was many factors with. I'm just trying to sort out my camera here. Sorry, apologies for everyone that
Yeah,
watching.
no worries, no worries.
No, the situation with Marcus is we looked at him last year. We saw he was scoring goals. We like the sort of style of goals he scores. We feel he's a dimension to us that we haven't got. And again, we're trying to get a striker in this football club, and they're going to come at a huge cost. And people have no idea. I don't want to name someone, but we spoke to a couple, and they were like ridiculous money they was quoting. The club was quoting, and their agents were quoting, and that's not the only reason we took Mark, because we have to have 4 or 5 players on the go in any deal to get the one. That's just how it works, because the player's got 4 or 5 clubs on the go, so you have to make sure you're going to lose some, you're going to win some. So anyway, we went right through the summer. I mean, I cut my holiday short with my family to come back to get that done. Chairman worked tirelessly with me on that. Robbie Elliott at Gateshead, was pretty much very helpful with that in the right professional manner. So that was a long one. It took a bit of time to get across the line, but I think it's a good one for us. I think it'd be a good fit for us, Marcus. So for me, that was a no-brainer in the sort of market that we're in. But I was glad to get him across the line, and he's looked sharp in pre-season, really sharp. So that was good. And like you say, can't keep relying on cheeky. Danny Imrie is a player I've liked. I've seen many times playing for Palace. He's got a bit of bite about him, which I like. I think I mentioned in one of your podcasts or one of your interviews that you see that I've got 2 players in every position. That was a position I felt we was light on. And we brought Danny in, and Danny's a real aggressive attacking wing back with good quality at the end of it, and some goals he chips in with. So again, my relationship with Palace, with the people at Palace, meeting Danny, meeting his dad, speaking to the agent, who's someone I know very well, and just sending the whole picture. And again, that didn't happen overnight. That took a bit of time as well. But all of these ones that take time are not taking time because the player doesn't want to come. He just wants to understand what we're thinking. Their agent want to understand. And it's the right way to do business, I think. So that one was done as well, which I'm really chuffed about. And then the other one was Taylor Forehand.
Yeah, I was going to say Taylor. Did you work with him at Arsenal? I just assumed you must have done, but I don't actually know.
Great. And look, let's answer the question about Alex Clerk. Alex Clerk, we liked Alex. I don't want to go into detail too much, but I think it's important to be honest. The money his agent was asking was ridiculous, like ludicrous. And I'm going to say, I don't know, these people sit on the fence, so he took the advice of his agent. There was nowhere near what we could get. We couldn't nowhere near. And then, I'm not sure he's got a club or not now, but so rather than sit and play this game with agents, which I don't do, well, there's loads of players out there. I'll go and get someone else. And Taylor was out there. He wanted to come. I knew his agent very well. I know Taylor. Taylor's a top lad. He's an aggressive player. He can play football as well. He'd be good for us, Taylor. So it was a no-brainer taking Taylor. Again, I think a really good signing for the football club.
Listen, just to wrap it up, because you've given me more than enough of your time, and thank you as always, Andy, for your honesty. You mentioned Alex Dyer. Now, just to clear that up, because I saw Alex a lot last season. Obviously, he was involved. Tended to sit like kind of almost in the stands, given a kind of having a different perspective on things. Is he now with us? Maybe he was last season, I don't know, but is he now part of your permanent kind of setup at the club, or is he somebody who kind of works with you on a kind of ad hoc basis?
So Alex was, I brought Alex in last year just to do a couple of days a week with the strikers, just to be around. He'd done a couple of sessions a week just to keep helping the strikers, because that was predominantly where he played. And then we got promoted, and I asked him to come on board. I spoke to the chairman about it. The chairman was fully backing of me of that. Look, we're talking about a man that's coached at the highest level here. He's coached international level. He's managed. So he's got a few hats for me, Alex, in the nicest sense. I've known Alex since I was 15 years old. I was an apprentice and he was a professional then. But he's a good sounding board for me, someone that I can go to and get a level mindset on certain things, because I'm not always right, as much as the players seem to think I believe I am, I'm not. So it gives me a good level head sometimes when you need it, when it's all going off around you. but most importantly, as a coach, he's fantastic. He gets it, he understands it, and he's a brilliant coach. And he's just added to us on the training pitch as well, which I think is equally important. You know, to have someone of his pedigree, you know, is only going to be a benefit to us.
Thank you. And then finally, we spoke on Saturday after Aldershot, but I'll just quickly return to it. You would have done your homework. You would have spoken to countless people about League Two. Historically, people tend to say that the teams that come up from League Two, they certainly don't go back down, and they tend to adapt quite well because probably outside of the top 7 or 8 teams, the standard isn't too dissimilar, some say, to the top end of the National League. That said, Bromley will have to find their feet, like every other promoted team has to find their feet. You said to me on Saturday that certainly numbers need to go up all across the pitch, and that National League numbers won't cut it at the top end of League Two. But where do you see those kind of 1% intangibles coming at this level of football? Because you don't have, with the greatest respect, you can't do what Port Vale did, which is go spend 6 figures on Laurent Tologe from Aldershot. Allegedly, I'm saying allegedly. I don't know. So you can't do what those clubs are doing. So where do you get the intangibles or those 1%ers in League Two?
Well, look, you're right with the numbers. The numbers definitely have to go up. I mean, I'll give you one little stat. If we are to do what we've done last year in League Two, we have to put 12% more crosses in the box.
Right.
If we have to do what we've done in the National League, if we want to do that in League Two, we have to run 13% more high-speed running. I could go on and on with this, with everything right across the board. That's the sort of level of detail I'm working in here, you know. And people have said, well, they're just numbers and stats. Well, they're the stats we worked off last year. We got promoted. We're going to go up again this year. Those stats won't live up to anything. We got to go up another gear, another level. We've got to have more quality. We've got to have more of everything. So as much as everyone on the outside, and I don't mind this, to give me the stat of wherever it goes up, don't come down. It's not quite as easy as that. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
It really isn't. So I've got to make sure I'm fully armed. Equally, and I've got on record of saying this, and I know this will always come back to bite me if it doesn't come off, but I'm a big enough and strong enough character to deal with that. Do I just want to go up and survive? No chance. That's not my nature. Did I just want to come here to Bromley and just think, oh, I'll have a couple of years working in, see how it goes? No chance. And equally, do you think I've got an owner that will just have a manager that just is going to do that? No chance. So my mindset is we're going up. We're going to try and get in the playoffs again. No, not we're going to try. We're going to get in the playoffs again because I don't do that try. We're going to get in the playoffs again. That's the target. If we fall short, we fall short. But it won't be through setting the bar high. And we have to set the bar high because we are still Little Bromley. And I want to keep spending that narrative to clubs. We're a little non-league club that are in the league, that shouldn't be in the league. We're the underdogs. We're the favourites to go down. Let all the other clubs believe that. And then hopefully Little Bromley can come through like they always do, with that DNA and that culture that we've put into this place right the way through, and hopefully surprise a few boys. So that's the mindset in essence. And I hope it doesn't come across as brash or arrogant or disrespectful, because that's not what I'm about. And this is not aimed at any other football club, by the way, or not aimed at the league. It's aimed at my team, my club, my demands. Because we have to do that, and we're only going to do that, and we're going to, believe it or not, we're going to stick to our mantra. We're going to just take care of our business. What everyone else is doing, what everyone else is spending, whatever other crowds they get, lovely. That's nothing to do with us. We're taking care of our business, and that's what we're going to do.
Well, you couldn't end it any better, Andy. I think if there's one thing that you've always stood by, is since you came to the club, is saying we'll take care of our business. And, every year, taking care of your business has led to year on year and season on season progression. So obviously, on behalf of the fans in this context, I say obviously, I'm not even going to say luck, because best of luck suggests, oh well, you're trying, but all the best for the season. all the best for the season. Obviously, I'll be there. All of us will be there. And we kick off on Saturday against Harrogate Town. I'm sure you and I will catch up very soon. But thank you for taking the time for coming on the show, Andy. Much appreciated.
And thanks for your support, by the way. Not yourself, but all the, all the people that listen to your show. I think it's brilliant. I think it's very level. It's aimed levelly at all of us when it's good, bad, or indifferent. And sometimes it's a little reminder to me if I've missed something, or I don't mind it. So I'd like to say from myself and my staff and players, we appreciate what you do for us, Mesh.
Until one day it doesn't. But now we're good.
Listen, we all know there'll be one or the other day. I'll either be a Champions League manager or I'll be sweeping the stands. Saying you want to back yourself again, me.
Listen, thank you so much, Andy, for coming on. Much appreciated. Bromley fans, I hope you enjoyed that, and anybody else who's watching that from any other club. And see you all soon. Everywhere.